So my first tip is going to be continue to search on your own. Your agent should be sending you listings, but only you know exactly what you're looking for. So if you have the time to look for yourself, it can speed things up a whole lot more. Some places I like to check out are Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, Trulia, HomeSnap, that's a really good one, Facebook, and Craigslist. So a lot of overlap with all these, but I really just check these apps like it's social media at this point. It's kind of embarrassing. Hey everybody, welcome back to our playlist on how to buy your first property, where we're going step by step and sharing everything you need to know to buy your first rental property. This is video number 6, and we're talking about how to actually find your deal and get it under contract after you've gotten your team together and you know exactly what you're looking for. So with that, let's get into tip number 2. Get out there and look. When I tell you these pictures will lie to you, I'm not just saying that. Be sure to set up viewings with your agent and walk through any homes that you are remotely interested in. As you scale up, you might not need to see these properties in person, but if you're just starting out, I think it's a really valuable experience. When you're walking through, you want to pay attention to the work that's done in the house. If the paint looks like it's trying to hide something and the trim all around the floor is not done well, this could mean that a lot of shortcuts were taken and that the work was careless. Which is fine if you're going to be doing some repairs anyway, but if the work on the easy stuff is bad, then the important systems could also be in trouble. Which brings us to our next tip. Pay attention to the major systems and structure that we talked about before. And let's just go through these and give a couple examples. With the plumbing, you want to make sure that their pipes aren't going all over the place like somebody didn't know where to put things and just kind of kept building until they found it. And you want to make sure that if things aren't PVC'd, which is like the white plastic that you see, mostly associated with plumbing. If it's not PVC, typically it'll be iron. And if it's iron, you want to make sure that it's not rusted out, no huge sores on it, things that, like holes, and not a lot of crazy patchwork as well. With the electrical work, you're going to be looking for something similar, so make sure that the wires aren't going all crazy. Ideally, they should look pretty new, and the panel itself should look pretty new. So when it comes to HVAC, which is your heating, ventilation, air conditioning, or something like that, I'm personally not a huge fan of boilers because I didn't grow up with them, and I don't know how they work. So anyway, that's just me. Make sure that your boiler or furnace isn't too old and is functioning well. And when it comes to your structural things like your foundation, you want to make sure that things aren't crumbling. Again, no horizontal cracks in the foundation. And with your roof, you want to check for water damage. You can see this outside, maybe around the windows. Any like siding on the house, you might be able to see it. You might also notice some tarp on the roof or shingles missing. And when you're in the inside of the house, you might notice water damage on the top floor if there's multiple floors, but in the ceiling. And if you see, it looks like water dripped and dried up, it might be brownish or something like that. That can be indicative of roof issues as well. Other than that, you just want to make sure that the house is standing upright. I have seen quite a few houses, especially in my city, that are kind of leaning to the side, looking like it might fall over onto the next one. So is the building just standing up straight? Is there an addition maybe in the back that's falling off? Are the bricks tuck pointed well, which is like the stuff between the bricks? Is that doing well, or is there a lot of gaps in the bricks? Anyway, that was a lot. Do your best. If anything looks crazy, you can also bring a contractor to a viewing to give you an idea of whether or not certain things are an issue in the first place, and also how much you should budget for it. Remember that you'll also have an inspection, so it's okay if you don't catch everything, but you do want to notice anything that can save yourself time and money up front, because inspections are, at least for me, they haven't been cheap. Next tip is to not be too emotional. You are an investor and the numbers need to work, period. I don't care how cute the property is. The bottom line is that the property needs to be able to perform for you while also being a nice, clean, and well-maintained living space for someone in their family. So our next tip is to stick to your criteria on the non-negotiables. So maybe you wanted a 4 flat with 2 to 3 bedrooms per unit, but then you find a good deal on a 4 flat that only has 1 bedroom unit. That could potentially be fine, but if you find the perfect deal, but it's $50,000 out of your budget, that might not actually be the perfect deal. And one thing we like to ask ourselves with properties that do meet our criteria, as far as numbers go, Would we like to live here if we needed to? And if the answer is yes, then we move forward and we put a contract on it. Which brings us to the next tip. Don't be afraid of contracts. If everything checks out on the house, put a contract on it. Like I said in the first video, it's really just as simple as telling your agent, I want this house, and they will write it up for you in the same day usually. It's important to actually read this contract and make sure that everything is correct in it, and that'll probably be a separate video. But for now, ask your agent to walk you through it, and they should be able to explain everything to you. So if you do get to this point and you still feel a little unsure about this property, it's important to listen to your intuition. So if you really have a bad feeling about the house, move on. There's plenty of houses out there, but make sure it isn't just your fear that's holding you back. But after you have that property under contract, it's time to move on to your inspection period. So if this playlist has been helpful to you thus far, remember to like and subscribe because it really helps us out as we're working hard to grow this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.